Hello and welcome to Creatures of the Realm. Hey, I'm here. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty. It does happen every now and then. Um, just letting everyone know. Just welcome for tonight's episode of Creatures of the Realm, episode 14. Tonight we're doing the Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow, as you all know, it's an iconic creature. But before we get into the D&D jargon, let's get into the aspect of a scarecrow. What's a scarecrow? There's a lot of information about the scarecrow. For example, it served as a decoy for farmers back in the day. The origins of the scarecrow. Versions of the scarecrow appear to Roman armies. When they conquered the Japanese, they had them in the fields and they were dressed with raincoats and straw. They also carried weapons as well. Imagine this, in a field to scare birds, to scare enemies as well, to actually to create the illusion of there's someone standing there on guard holding a weapon, maybe more, and so forth. In the medieval era, in Europe, they experienced a shortage of child labor, and the children would run into the fields with wood, blocks of wood, and they would clap, just bam, 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 together. And farmers used these children, but since it happened back in the day, there were a shortage of children for labor. They used the scarecrows. They used clothes, and they put straws in them, and they put them in the fields, basically to ward off the birds and so forth, or any any predator in the area. What else? Superstition. Let's get into the superstition. I'm going to look at my levels before we continue. Everything looks pretty good. Everything looks pretty good on the recording, and hopefully the recording's doing well. But just to let you know, the superstition of the scarecrow. Later on, as the scarecrow grew, people started to have scarecrows in their fields, farmers for agricultural purposes and so forth. Back in the day, in the British Isles, crows were looked upon as evil and bad omens, and kind of remember that. If you watch the film Children of the Crow, the Corn, and if you watch those type of films, you know what the scarecrow is. It's this figure, clothes filled with straw in the middle of the field, a cornfield, and they ward off evil. Now remember, I mentioned the British Isles. The British Isles, back in the day, birds, those crows, were considered evil, bad omens. And this scarecrow is to ward off evil. But it really didn't come to what we know as scarecrow till later on. The boogeyman, for example. German immigrants brought the scarecrow traditions to the U.S. The scarecrow was used to scare birds and children from fields. You believe that? Because, of course, no crops, no money, so they had to ward off not only the birds, just anyone that tried to come to the cornfield or their field in general. So these scarecrows were there to really put pressure on anyone who come near that location. In Japanese culture, they have the Scarecrow, Ubeko, which is the god of agriculture. And it's also wisdom, immense knowledge. It's a different take on the Scarecrow itself. In modern pop culture, in DC Comics, if you're a comic book reader, we all know Jonathan Crane as a Batman villain. And if you've seen the movies, you know, if you've read books about scarecrows and so forth, you know what I'm talking about. Graphic novels and so forth. The Wizard of Oz is another thing. The straw man ventured out to look for a brain. Scarecrow. A wonderful take on the Scarecrow. Delightful, funny take on the Scarecrow. Let's hope that we can move on from this, right? Because we know that the Scarecrow, think about it, Wizard of Oz, he's moving around, he's happy, looking for the brain. Again, a different take on the Scarecrow. What do I mean by moving on? I'm getting to it. Trust me, I'm getting to the gist of it. In movies, let's go back to the movies. Jeepers Creepers, y'all remember that? Jeepers Creepers in 2001. Great movie, right? It grossed $59 million, but the budget was $10 million. And it was enough to make 2 sequels and 1 reboot. Great. Wonderful. The film also featured a real-life murder case. And this was in Coldwater, Michigan, if you all remember back then. It was also broadcasted on Unsolved Mysteries. And the writer and director got his inspiration from that. And that's a pretty cool take, isn't it? Now, you want to take a look at the Scarecrow in general, because you can use a Scarecrow in your games. You can use the Scarecrow, just to make things scary. And before I continue with the D&D jargon and how do we use Scarecrows, I want to talk about subscriptions. Subscribe, like, get the word out, Playerole. We're just a bunch of guys, ladies as well. We just a bunch of friends playing Dungeons and Dragons. Back in Season 2 and Season 1. We're now in Season 3. We're playing the Dark Ages, Vampire in the Dark Ages. Come tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. We'll be playing this game. Come join us. Subscribe and like. Let us know how you feel about the game and so forth. Comment. Just join us and have a great time. With that being said, we're going to continue on. What's the D&D part of the Scarecrow? The Scarecrow, in the harvest time when death revisits the twilight world and the summoners blossom bow their withered heads, eerie scarecrows loom in the silent vigil over empty fields. With mortal patience, these stoic sentinels hold their posts through wind, storm, and flood, bound to their master's command, eager to terrify, prey with its stack-clothed visage and rend victims with its razor-sharp claws. Fantastic, isn't it? Hags, witches are usually the ones that take command of these beings. The Scarecrow is a medium construct, chaotic evil. For all you know D&D jargon here, Scarecrow doesn't require food, drink, or anything like that. I went over a little bit of lore on the Scarecrow, and now I'm giving you the D&D gist. Normally, if you want to homebrew it, because this is a lower level Scarecrow, It's about challenge rate of 1. You can go ahead and increase your challenge rating. Hit points 36, speed 30. Again, if you have a low level creature, nothing wrong with that. It's all about presence. It's all about the game. You have players going into a cornfield or maybe a barn, and in the distance they see this figure looming in the background. Well, the figure not moving, still. What do the players do? What do they do? Those are the things you have to put in your game. Really bring out the strength of this construct. Because I love the Scarecrow, man. It really is cool. Not only is it horrific, think about it. You could have a bunch of kids, even if they're warriors, right? They're in a field and they see this thing just hanging, not moving. But they look around and they don't bother to it, and they go right back to the barn just to investigate. And one of the players turn and he says, "Hey guys, that Scarecrow in the field is no longer there." Well, guess what? Now it's hunting them. Just stuff like that. Make it eerie. Give them something scary. Give them that moment of intensity. Do not back down, despite of the challenge rating. Let's look at what it does. It's vulnerable. Damage vulnerabilities is fire, obviously. Immunity is poison. Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, non-magical attacks. It's resistant to that, and it's usually half damage when it's resisting to that. Damage, immunity, poison. Poison, you're immune to it. It's not going to do anything. Again, it doesn't eat or anything like that. It's not going to affect it. Folks on Rumble, thank you for joining. It understands languages, but pretty much that's it. It has 2 claw attacks and 2d4 plus 1. Again, D&D jargon. I'm not going to go into that, but it has this terrifying glare. I will get into that. That's kind of cool. The Scarecrow targets one creature which is close to it, which is 30 feet. And if the target can see a Scarecrow, the target would succeed on a DC 11 Wisdom saving throw or be magically frightened. Man, I'm telling you, that is some cool stuff. And the frightened part of it, the target gets paralyzed. Since your Wisdom saving throw are magically frightened until the end of the Scarecrow's next turn, the frightened target is paralyzed. There you go. So you're paralyzed in fear, which is cool. Again, that is a great thing to have. False appearance. While the Scarecrow remains motionless, it is indistinguishable from any ordinary inanimate Scarecrow. So there you go. It is something to really, really bring out. The Scarecrow is going to stay still, and your party is going to move. It's not going to do anything until it does move. It all depends on what situation you have in the game. That's the main thing. The situation is the biggest component to everything. I hope my stream is coming out good. Let me know if my stream is good. Let me know if I'm having any audio issues or everything. I had technical issues, and I'm hoping everything is good. I'm looking at my levels, and everything so far looks good. You're telling me the stream is healthy, but who knows? Um, anyway, let's continue with the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow is one of those constructs that you have to use in a certain setting. What do I mean by that? Well, can a Scarecrow be inside a building? Maybe. Would it be feasible? Depends on your story. Depends on what you want to do. You know, if you have a horror setting, if you have maybe this malevolent individual has a knife in his hand and he is looking around and he sees a Scarecrow inside his home. What's going to happen? How did that Scarecrow get there? He goes into his house. He looks around. He sees a Scarecrow motionless. Freaks him out, even though he has a knife. He's malevolent. He's a bad guy. He's a villain. But then he goes out. Comes back in. Scarecrow is gone. That's what I mean. Scare the players. Do something like that. He didn't realize that his last kill had family, and that family knew voodoo, and through voodoo and magic created this Scarecrow to come back and somehow kill, destroy the malevolent individual. You could have something like that. I mean, maybe the voodoo is a little bit out of the ordinary or too much of a stretch, but maybe it's out of revenge. Remember the film Pumpkinhead? Something like that. Bring that into your story. And those are great, great films. Jeepers Creepers, Pumpkinhead, all those films are great. I mentioned Wizard of Oz earlier. That's another good one. That's a classic if you're into that stuff. But the Scarecrow you could really put in any. You're saying I can say any setting, but that's not really true because you have to. Everybody's different. I like to be. I'm particular at my bad guys. I like to really put them in there, make them fit. But if they don't fit, that's where it gets kind of weird, especially in your games. The main thing about Scarecrows you have to look at is this. Let's take a look back at D&D. They're spirit-powered constructs. Remember I mentioned pumpkin. A Scarecrow is animated by the bound spirit of the slain evil creature, granting it purpose and mobility. It is uncanny. It is this uncanny presence from beyond death that allows the Scarecrow to inspire fear in those it gazes upon. Hags and witches often bind Scarecrows with spirits of demons, but an evil spirit will lead. Although aspects of the spirit's personality might resurface, the Scarecrow's spirit doesn't recall the memories it had as a creature, and its will is focused solely on serving its creator. If its creator dies, the spirit inhabiting the Scarecrow either continues to follow its last commands, seeking revenge for its creature's death, or destroys itself. There you go. You really need to work on this Scarecrow construct. You know, maybe a hag wants revenge on the party. She is manipulating the situation from afar, and she uses a Scarecrow to take out the party. You might think, well, the Scarecrow is too weak. Well, therefore, you bring up the stats, homebrew it, bring up those hit points. What I would do, and if you're looking at, let's see here, its weakest ability is intelligence wisdom, I would keep those. I would bring them up, but I would keep the constitution maybe the same, or maybe bring it up a little bit. I would bring up constitution, intelligence, and wisdom. Charisma, keep that the same. Strength, bump that up. That'll bring up your armor class and hit points up as well. You can go ahead and homebrew this the Scarecrow. Make him a little stronger than what he is now. Challenge rate 1 is nothing, especially if you have a big party. If you have a party of 4 or 5, that's going to be it's not going to be enough. But at level 1, it might be enough. Or I would bump them up just enough to scare the hell out of them, and that way someone gets hit with one swipe and they start losing those points, and they're going to back away. They're not going to attack that creature or that construct all outright. They might run, they might settle themselves behind an obstacle, maybe a turned over table, maybe a wall, hide behind somewhere where they can, maybe a turned over a barrel of hay and stuff like that, because if they're in the barn setting, those are the things that you really have to perceive, because players will be players, man. And I'm talking, they're going to come up with cockamamie ways to do things, especially in a horror setting. I love to do theater of the mind. I love to do that. And I know that I've been throwing up a lot of pictures here and there, but theater of the mind to me is the best, because you get to describe the scenario. Your players really get to see the image, your setting in game. But it's nice to have a picture every now and then to really give them a little bit of an imaginary boost. And there's nothing wrong with that. With all that, look at the surroundings. Let's see, you have crows, maybe have a crow perched up on the Scarecrow's head. Maybe have that crow look down, caulk, stuff like that. And then, as the party investigates, they look up and they see a flock of birds swooping down. And they look, and it's ravens, crows, or however you want to use them, and have them a swarm. Just have them attack. Another horror setting, another piece of horror that you can use before the Scarecrow. Maybe have rats. Maybe have bugs, insects, stuff like that. Something, little things that leads up to your creature or construct in this case, because it's a big deal. And if you're going to have them there, maybe who's there's maybe the farmers are dead. Maybe they were killed. Maybe you see it turned over a barrel, hay sprawled out all over. You look inside the barn, you see a pitchfork in the chest of a farmer. Maybe it was fresh blood. Maybe it wasn't. Just stuff like that. I'm getting into my horror. Tomorrow I have vampires, so I'm getting into that darkness. So excuse me. I'm doing Dungeons and Dragons. I can't be that dark right now. But anyways, it's fun to really look at different aspects, because you really have to understand things before they get bigger. What do I mean by that? Understand your setting. Understand what you're doing. Okay, is it a horror? Is it investigative? Is it a mystery? Before the Scarecrow animates and starts to attack, make your mystery intriguing, leading up to that main event. Stuff like that. Because as much as you throw those things in, small pieces, like maybe the crow perched up on the Scarecrow's head, tries to take out your eye, flies very close to your head and just swoops away. Stuff like that. You see dead bodies, creepiness of that setting. Draw them in. Make them want to stay. Give them a reason to stay. Because that's the main thing, isn't it? The reason to stay. And let me say thank you to everyone on Rumble. Comment if you have any questions. If you have any questions about the Scarecrow or anything, any creature you want me to talk about tonight, we can continue with the Scarecrow because I have a lot to say about the Scarecrow. But any episodes in the future, comment, let me know what you want me to talk about. And I love to talk about different creatures. And this in particular, I am having a bad night. I don't know what it is, but it's just one of those things. It's a Friday. But yeah, anytime you want to talk about any creature, any construct, D&D wise, let me know. It's great to talk about it because creatures of the realm, guys, that's what it's about. The main thing about scarecrows is that eeriness, that scary part of a scarecrow. It's hanging, it's not moving, it's not animated, doesn't move, and I think that's scary. I mean, you ever, as a kid, did you ever go to a farm or maybe a cornfield, and did you see a scarecrow? Have you seen a scarecrow? Or maybe you go to a barn during Halloween, and they have a scarecrow in the middle of the field, and you're going through the maze, and you see the scarecrow. And as a little kid, you look up and you see this thing, this construct, but this humanoid. It looks like a human, but it's strong. Clothes, hat, and it's just kind of drooping. And as a kid, you see that, it scares the shit out of you. It would me. I mean, I did me when I was a kid. I was, my God, what is this? And, your imagination just kind of flies. It goes all over the place. That's one of the things that makes the scarecrow so scary, is the fact that it's still. It's not moving, it's still, it's right there looking at you. And you think that it moved as you stare at it. Have you ever look at something and go, is it moving? Is it me, or is it just, what's wrong? I mean, what's wrong? Why is it not moving? Did I just see it move? Did I, so I would touch it, I would try to move it, and it's not moving at all. So those are the things that you really got to look at when you're making a campaign or a one-shot and you're using a scarecrow. It's always a horror setting. You know, if you want to have maybe the hag used her power to control, to manipulate the Scarecrow. But as the party arrives, and all of a sudden, the Scarecrow animates. But in the backdrop, something happens. What does that mean? It means that that Scarecrow being controlled by the hag. The hag is going to come out. Maybe she does come out, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's hidden in the barn. Maybe she's underground somewhere in a cave. Maybe there's a hidden cellar and she's there in the darkness waiting for the party. She's the true villain, not the Scarecrow. But the Scarecrow is just part of the ploy, the plan to lure the party there. So what do? Let me go back. So the party investigates the barn. They see the dead bodies, they see the pitchfork in the farmer's chest, they see the overturned barrel, they see clues of some form of a struggle, and party members don't want to be here. The party doesn't want to be here. They're like, oh, we're out of here. This is too much. And as they start to leave, they realize that they get, maybe 30 feet, 40 feet away from the barn, and they realize they can't leave. Something is holding them back. It's not an urge from your heart. It's not a feeling. It's something translucent, something like a barrier holding them back. Wait a second, what's a barrier? Is there a mage there? Is there some form of strong magic? Is there a ritual? What is happening? So the party turns and realize something is going on. So they move. Towards the barn again. And as they get closer to the barn, they get this feeling of dread. They investigate the barn again. The upper levels, they see the cellar, they open the cellar down, and they find bottles, liquid inside the bottle. There's liquid and there's an eye, maybe a tooth, maybe a finger, stuff like that. You see a pot, a large pot, a cauldron, a very large cauldron. You see a stack of books, stuff like that. They see a cloak. Then they see a piece of wood everywhere. It's kind of slid open. So they look. And it's like, wait a second, there's stairs going down. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to check it out. So the party says, okay. Two of you go down, and they split the party. First rule, never split the party. But there's people that do. So there's 5 party members, 3 of them go down. They find a trap door. Or just a door leading to another room. You don't have to have a trap. Let's erase that. Let's say it's not a trap. They find a door. Ground. And all of a sudden, they just slide that piece of wood that happens to be, it slides left and right. You can't pick it up, it's just a door, but it slides. And it's big enough for the 3 of them to get in. As they walk down, They realize, oh, it's dark. One of them has a torch. No mage in the party. Just a ranger. Ranger takes out the torch and they go downstairs. As they go down the stairs, they see a long corridor. Opens up wide. Then they smell it. They smell it. They smell bones. They smell death all around. So what happens? Let me check my levels really quick. Oh, okay. So, all of a sudden, they hear something. They hear some form of voice. So they all move in that direction. They go in that direction. They start to sprint, run. 3 party members go in that direction. And they realize something is wrong. They see dead bodies. They see jewelry, weapons, which is great. They're playing Dungeons and Dragons, which I am, and that's great. In a search for items and stuff like that, that's what you do. So after all that stuff, they move on and they realize they hear that door that was upstairs suddenly closed. So one of the party members out of the 3 says, hey, I want to go check out that door and make sure that it can be open. So he goes up the stairs and tries it. Tries the butt of his sword. Tries, uses strength. Not enough. So what happens? He goes right back down, tells the other party members, says, hey, look, we're trapped. Meanwhile, the other 2 in the barn are still investigating. They go up top and they see a bedroom and they see a mirror, and the bed is beautiful. Light pink. Silk, mind you. Bed cover. And on top of the bed, you see this curtain that's also made of silk. So basically, they all look around. Oh wait, there's a princess maybe live here, maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody who's wealthy or just is out of place. And they look into the mirror and they see a reflection of a woman with long, beautiful blonde hair, ice blue eyes. She has a crown and look in the mirror, turn around, and she's not there. She's in the mirror. She waves. As they try to talk to her, vanishes, gone. At that point, one of the party members finds a letter on the bed. So there's 3 that went downstairs underneath the barn. The other 2 are upstairs. The one reading the letter, and the other guy says, hey, look, I want to go downstairs and make sure everything's okay. Well, as he goes downstairs and goes out of the barn just to investigate to make sure everything's okay, he realizes that the Scarecrow out by the cornfield, inside the cornfield, is gone. That's what I mean using horror elements. That's what I mean. That's how you do it. You really do it, because that's how you that's how you really bring things in. You really draw everyone into that realm, into your world. And you scared the shit out of him. He's like, where the hell did he go? So he goes searching for him. He goes right where the Scarecrow was. It's gone. He turns around, rah, rah, rah. He sees a whole bunch of crows flying at him. And he tries to shoo him out of the way, does a good job. He gets pecked every here and there, not enough to do major damage. And he runs back into the barn, and as he runs the barn, I have him make a athletics check. And he misses it and he trips. He trips. Meanwhile, the one reading the letter up top, he reads the letter, and the letter basically tells him that my family, the woman in the mirror, her name is Shannon, and she starts, her name can be anything, whatever you want, but she starts to tell them, or it's written as if she were there, saying, a warning. I was killed 24 hours ago, and I need some blood, some deaths, so I can come back to life. I need some deaths, some blood, so I can come back to life. What the shit is that? I mean, what is that? So the guy's confused. He's reading it. What do you mean come back to life? Then as he's reading, he realizes that she needs feeding. She needs dead bodies. So wait a second. He looks into the mirror again. Something catches his eye. And he sees that this beautiful woman, long, blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, is this decrepit old hag with a curved nose. And on top of that nose, a massive wart. And her eyes are ice blue. You can see her long blonde hair to the small of her back. And she's hunched over with long black curled nails, looking at this man. That would have him make a horror check, which in D&D, it can be a wisdom roll. Stuff like that, charisma, however you want to do it. So you make the check, he makes it, but now he's like, oh shit. So he leaves the room, and as he goes down the stairs, the Scarecrow's right there. So just, it caught him off guard, kind of like a surprise, and Scarecrow slashes him in the chest. He falls on the ground. He survives. Meanwhile, the other guy comes in the house and hears something going on upstairs, so he goes up the stairs and he sees the Scarecrow draw his sword and commence a battle. Meanwhile, on the lower level of the barn, the three heroes are trekking their way to find the mystery of this barn with a weird scarecrow and bodies and so forth. So they smell death and so forth. They move forward and they see another cauldron. The cauldron is smoking. Beyond the cauldron, they see the hag with long blonde hair, decrepit. Her nose is curled with a wart on there. She has a staff which is curved, almost very old. Her long black curved nails. She looks at them and immediately casts a spell. So you have the three now engaging the hag. And now you have, which is a real threat, the other two are engaging the Scarecrow. So, however, guys, you want to throw in the Scarecrow, always have another opposite villain or minion, however you want to do it. If you want the Scarecrow to be the main big bad, bump them up and just put them in a scenario where he'll animate later. But bring them in. Or maybe you don't want him to be the big bad. Maybe you want something else to be the big bad. Like the hag controlling the Scarecrow. She has an agenda. They always do. So, with that being said, those are the things that make a scarecrow a scarecrow. And really, no creature is an empty shell. It all depends on how you, as a dungeon master, portrays that creature or construct, or however you want to throw this creature in, however you want to do it. But bring life to the Scarecrow. Don't just have him there, do nothing, or get killed fast. Have him be a part of the story, and have him be a big part enough to be a real scare, a real threat, and not just, he was just another creature next. You don't want to do that. And and sometimes it does happen, but that's Dungeons and Dragons. With all that, I'm going to cut it kind of short tonight. I did have technical difficulties. I want to make sure everything's okay for tomorrow's stream. But subscribe, like, guys. Support Playerole. We're a bunch of guys and gals playing role-playing games. We, of course, we love the Vampire of the Dark Ages. We love role-playing altogether. Just join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. Subscribe, like, let me know what you think. Let me know what you want. I have a Patreon. Check out the Patreon. Playerole. Real people, real gamers. I'm not a professional videographer or sound editor or anything like that. I'm just a guy and doing a damn good job. Or I think I am. Hopefully I am. But just join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of tonight's episode. Let me know what type of creature you want me to do for the next episode. Chime in. Everyone on Rumble, thank you for watching. YouTube, Facebook, Kick, and Twitch. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow.